In today's video, we're going to look at section 2-5, solving equations with the variable on each side. So what we got to keep in mind is a variable just represents an unknown number. So it still behaves like like a normal number in algebra. So we can move it around. We can actually divide by it. We're not going to do that right now, but that will come in the future. But it is still a number, so it still behaves exactly like a number would in the past. Like before, if we wanted to subtract 3 from both sides, we could do that. Well, here it still remains the same. So let's look. Solve -2 plus 10p equals 8p minus 1. So we notice that there's a p on each side. So what we first need to do is to get all the variables on one side and all the non-variables on another side. So I'm going to move one of the variables. I'm going to move 8p because I always try to move the smaller of the two. That typically will leave me with a positive number, and it can usually make things easier. Sometimes I just want to move the variable to the left side instead of the right, but it is up to the person doing the problem. So I'm going to go with what is comfortable with me. So I'm going to start with subtracting 8p because we're moving it to one side. So what we do to one side, we do to the other, just like we've done in the past. So now we have -2 plus 2p is equal to -1. So now I need to accumulate all my variables, or non-variables, onto the other side. So I'm going to add 2 to cancel out that -2. And what I do to one side, I do to the other. So now I'm left with 2p is equal to positive 1. So then, now I need to just solve for p because I'm at where I've been in the last few sections. I just need to get rid of that times 2, so I'm going to divide by 2. So I'm left with p is equal to 1/2. So there you go. And we'll do a quick check. -2 plus 10 times 1/2 is equal to 8 times 1/2 minus 1. So here we get -2 plus 5 is equal to 4 minus 1. Here we get 3 equals 3, and there we go. Okay. So now we just have another step. Solve 4 times the quantity 4 times the quantity 2r minus 8 is equal to 1/7 times the quantity 49r plus 7. So first things first, I want to simplify. So I'm going to distribute on both sides. So on the left, I get 8r minus 32 equals, and on the right side, I get 7r plus 10. So there we go. So now again, I'm going to move things around. I'm going to move everything to the left, the variables to the left. So I'm going to subtract r from both sides, 7r. So subtract 7r. So I get r is minus 32 is equal to 10. And well, that's kind of works out nice. I don't have to do any division. I just have to move the 32 over. Whoop. So I get r is equal to 42. Okay. So there we go. Next, we got to talk about what an identity is. Identity is equations that are true for all values of the variables. So as you're working through the problem, if your work shows a true statement, then you have an identity and there are infinite solutions. If the work shows false statement, then you have no solutions. So by a true statement, we mean the sides are the exact same. Both sides are the same. On the other, if it's a false statement, that means like 3 equals 7. Well, that's not true. That's false. 3 does not equal 7. 3 equals 3. So that would be a false statement, meaning you have no solution. So let's do a couple problems. We have 2m plus 5 is equal to 5m minus 7 minus 3m. So on the right side, I need to simplify. So I get 2m plus 5 is equal to 5m minus 35 minus 3m. I'm running out of room here. So then combine like terms on the right side. So I get 2m plus 5 is equal to 2m minus 35. So now, just to be safe, I'm going to move all my variables to one side. So I'm going to subtract 2m from both sides, and look what happens. I get 5 is equal to negative 35. That is a false statement. That does not make sense. It's not true. So that means there is no solution. Okay, so false is just a statement. False isn't the answer. The answer is no solution. So now let's go through another one. Okay. 3 times the quantity r plus 1 minus 5 is equal to 3r minus 2. So once again, I'm going to distribute on the right side, or excuse me, the left side in this case. 3r plus 3 minus 5 is equal to 3r minus 2. Combine like terms, as we normally do, we should simplify. We get 3r minus 2 is equal to 3r minus 2. Well, once again, I'm just going to be safe. I'm going to subtract 3r from both sides, get rid of all my move all my variables to one side, and then hey, I'm left with negative 2 is equal to negative 2. Well, that's 100% true. Negative 2 does equal negative 2, so that means there are infinite solutions. Okay, so first summary of solving equations, we always want to simplify first, use a distributive property as we did, then add or subtract to get variables on one side and numbers on the other, non-variables on the other side, and then use multiplication division to simplify and solve for the variable.